This is part one of the interview with Julian Goldie. In the first part, we talk about running his agency, his overall background in SEO, and using AI to run his agency efficiently and improve profits and generally grow. In the second part of the interview, which is a separate episode, so definitely check that out, we talk about using YouTube to grow his agency. So the whole thing's focused on his agency and growing and improving profitability. So in part two, it's one of my favorite topics, YouTube, and be sure to check out that other episode. So without further ado, let's hear from Julian Goldie. Welcome to the Ranking Revolution podcast, your go-to source for strategies and ideas for SEO, organic growth, content creation, and online business. I'm Doug Cunnington, your host. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Julian Goldie. He's a Chiang Mai-based SEO expert and link building specialist. He's the CEO of Goldie Agency, a firm dedicated to helping businesses grow their traffic and rank higher on Google through link building strategies. He's known for his in-depth knowledge of SEO, and he has successfully helped hundreds of businesses globally, from startups to large corporations. He has a killer YouTube channel. He speaks at conferences all over the world. And today we're going to talk about using AI in your agency to boost revenue, increase productivity, increase your customer lifetime value as well. And in the second part, we're going to talk about using YouTube to grow your agency or business overall. Julian, welcome to the show. How's it going today?
Doing great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I'm pumped to talk to you. We've sort of passed each other online for a little while, but it's the first time that we're speaking. You stayed up a little bit late for us to talk, and it's my morning, it's your evening. So I really appreciate it.
I'm at pajamas by now.
I know. And if we were talking, I was like, all right, I'm not going to keep you up too late because I usually get in bed about 8 o'clock or so, read for a little while, get a good night's sleep. So I respect that you're staying up to chat with me. So before we get into some of the details on using AI in your agency, I want to know a little bit about how you started your agency and how long you've been working in SEO, just for a little bit of background.
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing SEO for, I would say, the last 7 years. And I started off because I used to be a sales copywriter and writing copy like all day on my website, trying to create a portfolio that I could show off to clients. And I would literally spend like my mornings just writing for this website. The problem was it never saw the light of day, never got any love from Google, and it didn't matter how good the copy was. It was just getting nowhere fast on Google. And so I had a few friends in Chiang Mai at the time who saw me wasting all my mornings trying to create a website that clients would see. And they were like, mate, have you heard of link building before? Because if not, we need to get you on it. And so they sat with me for the next 90 days after that. Every day we were working together in the coffee shops and that sort of thing, just getting stuff done. And they taught me how to do link building. I finally got my website ranking and getting traffic. And I was like, oh, if it works for me, I could probably sell this as a service. And that's how I sort of went from doing this for myself to selling it for one client who was from Mongolia. So my first ever client was from Mongolia, and then just scaled up from there. Like, obviously it didn't happen overnight, but grew from like, one random client in the middle of Mongolia to having over 100 clients today and making well over 7 figures.
And you had to figure out how to do link building. Some of your friends taught you how to do it, and then you jumped in. And I suspect like your copywriting experience helped you do a better job than, just the average person that learned how to do outreach and link building and all that kind of stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit, just the copywriting experience?
Yeah. So for me, I was a sales copywriter. So I kind of lived and died by my results. And that made me much better at marketing. Honestly, I genuinely, even today, I still consider myself more of a marketer than an SEO. So I like to do SEO. It's fun to play with. I have a bunch of websites, whatever. But for me, I consider myself more of a marketer. And that really stems from spending years studying people like Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, learning about copywriting, learning about funnels, and really learning about direct response marketing. So how to take attention and transform it into money.
Okay. And it's funny.
Like I identify the same way, and especially as I hang around like more SEOs that are really good SEOs, I'm like, I'm not a very good SEO. I'm an okay marketer. I can't write that well, but it's good enough. So it's interesting that you took that route. So once you figured out how to do the link building, you got one or two clients. How long was it before you started scaling up a little bit there?
Yeah, it took quite a while. I would say between 6 and 12 months to really start cracking the code on client acquisition. So I think when you're first getting started, you're desperately trying to get one or two clients in, and that'll be enough for you. I remember thinking to myself, and my mate who taught me link building, we were chatting about it. We said to each other, if we start making 5K a month with our agencies, that's enough to like just go and play Skyrim all day in Chiang Mai and play video games and not have to work again. And at the time, that seemed like the holy grail of freelancing or being an agency. And then from there, you get to 5K and you're like, whoa, maybe we could scale this to 10K. And then you get to 10K and you're like, mate, why would I stop at 10K? I want to get to 40K. And so just kept moving one step forward. I wouldn't say it was part of the plan, but for me, we started off with one client. Then I figured out, if I can get one client this way, then I can crack the code and get 4 or 5 clients. I was using Upwork at the time to land clients. And then I just got really good cracking the code on Upwork, cracking the algorithm, attracting attention, differentiating myself from everyone else, especially with my copywriting on Upwork. Like if you check out my Upwork profile, it's not an Upwork profile, it's a sales page. And it's probably one of the best converting sales pages I've ever written.
Very cool. All right. So couple last questions. What does the agency look like now so that we can get sort of a idea of the framework that you're using when we're talking about AI here? So you could lay out, whatever the org chart or however you want to describe it here.
Yeah, sure. So we have 50 people at the agency and over 100 clients.
Okay.
Multi 7-figure company. And yeah, I'm at the point now where I just manage 4 people directly and then they manage the rest of the organization. So for me, literally my main focus is just focusing on marketing because that's what I love. So I love to create YouTube videos. I love to build systems to generate more clients, handle the Facebook ads, etc. That's why I excel and that's what I enjoy. So I focus on that and the team focuses on everything else.
And how often do you meet with your 4 direct points of contact?
So we implemented a system called Entrepreneur Operating System, which is an EOS system based on Traction. A really good book. If no one's ever read it, check out the book Traction. And essentially what we did was we have one weekly team meeting. It's called a level 10 meeting on Mondays. And then from there, I have one-to-one KPIs, which are just 30 minutes maximum with each of the 4 people that I manage directly. So just takes me about, I would say 2.5, 3 hours to manage the whole team.
Okay. That's per week?
Yeah, per week. Yeah.
All right. And then how many hours per week would you estimate that you work?
Oh, it really depends. Honestly, I mean, for example, for me right now, I could get away with just maybe doing like 30 minutes a day, doing a quick live stream every day, 30 minutes. But I'm not really satisfied with that. Like I always want to grow. And if I don't grow the agency, then it's quite painful for me. And so, I like to grind it out like 6, 8, 12 hours. That's a lot of fun for me. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I get most of my pleasure.
Gotcha. And you only do that maybe like once or twice a week though, right? You don't do that like every day, right?
What, the 12-hour day?
Yeah.
I genuinely, I like to squeeze as much time as I can out of it. But when I work, like I track everything that I do and the amount of money that it brings me and also whether I'm being productive or not.
Got it. Okay. Very good. All right. Let's start transitioning into how you're using AI within the agency. And obviously, like you said, you got started something like 7 years ago. You slowly grew over time. The AI tools were much different like 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago. And to let people know, we're recording this early in May of 2024. So the thing is, everything moved really rapidly, and we went from kind of a shitty experience with like Jasper. No offense, it was good for the time that it was the only thing out there. But then ChatGPT, we have Gemini, there's Claude, there's other tools that are super powerful. So when did you start integrating AI into the agency more?
It was really about, I would say, 12 months ago. So I had a conversation with Ryan Stewart. I actually got Ryan Stewart as an interview guest on my YouTube channel. And I remember having this conversation that felt like the SEO apocalypse. So we were talking about how AI could transform the whole industry, how it got rid of the need for sales copywriters or human writers, and then how it was a massive threat to anyone in the SEO industry, particularly agencies. And so at that point, I remember going to sleep and thinking, do I have a job anymore? And at that point, I was like, right, I'm going to spend all day, every day learning how to use ChatGPT and implementing it for my business and figuring out, okay, how can I get my team to do it? Or how can I eliminate a lot of stuff in my business and just have AI do it instead? So yeah, it was about 12 months ago that I really started taking it seriously.
Okay. And well, what were the first couple things? So obviously you start messing around with ChatGPT, see what it can do. How did you identify an area where you're like, all right, I'm gonna try to investigate this problem. It looks like an inefficiency or something that we can get help from AI. And how did you approach it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So for me, people won't expect this, but one of the things that I started doing was looking at our marketing team, because I was like, this AI is so good at getting attention. And it's okay for copywriting. It's not bad for that. But actually, if you're getting attention and making everything more efficient in marketing, probably the most powerful thing you can use. As an example of that, right? This time, probably March or February last year, we had a full team of marketers. So we had like a YouTube scriptwriter, a marketing manager, video editor, YouTube thumbnail designer, etc. Right? Big team, costs thousands of dollars every month. And I was like, right, do we really need all of that? Or could I just record a video of me using ChatGPT as a screencast and upload that to YouTube and see if that pops off instead? Because most of my videos that were really well edited were getting like 300 to 500 views a video. And so I tested it and it blew up. I was using Descript, which is an AI tool for recording videos. And so it transcribes the video automatically. It edits the sound with AI. It removes all the silences and filler words inside your script, inside the content you've actually recorded with AI. So it's a very AI-driven tool that not a lot of people talk about. And I use that instead of my full team of marketers. The video popped off. It got about 10 times more views than we normally got. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll try it again and again. And then after 3 videos, I was like, right, very hard decision, very sad decision, but I'm going to have to let go of the whole team. And it saved me probably about $100,000 last year doing that.
Perfect. And in this example, you're literally you're creating videos to put on YouTube, and you're just showing yourself using ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of like a positive feedback loop where I was learning and training myself how to use ChatGPT. And then I would use that as marketing material to get more clients. And by getting more clients, I could spend more time on ChatGPT and figure out how to use it more. And so it was like this positive feedback loop where it's fueling itself. I was making money on both sides. I was making money from using ChatGPT and automating a lot of processes, making more money with SEO, etc. And then I was also making money by filming me learning about ChatGPT and attracting more clients and bringing more clients to our funnel through that recording.
Why do you think that worked better? Because it sounds like it was lightly edited. I used a script as well. And yeah, you can do some rough cuts and get it kind of close versus, like you said, you had well edited. You had a marketing team creating really like short films, right? So why do you think the raw videos did better?
I think it was a combination of, number one, there was a starving crowd of people interested in ChatGPT and not enough content to go around to help people, right? So like that was number one. Number two was I was very authentic in the videos. Instead of being like some perfectly lit studio with amazing production quality and like the same thumbnail design that every single person is interested in YouTube uses. I did everything the opposite. So like there was no editing. There was no fancy effects or anything like that. The sound quality was average at best. If you go back and listen to the videos that got like 50,000 views, the sound quality was absolutely average. I think you can hear the aircon in the background. So just by doing the opposite and being very authentic and honest, I think people appreciated that and they could connect with it more. And like, for example, when I go to these conferences, like when I spoke at Vietnam last month, when I went to Vietnam, like everyone in the room knew me. Like everyone was coming up to me, shaking my hand, introducing themselves. And it was like, wow, people really connected with me in a way that I didn't even realize was possible.
Let's get into the details of what you learned as you were creating these videos and then implement over in an agency. So imagine the average, either a solopreneur or an agency with maybe a couple few freelancers working for them. What things can they start using with AI to get, more revenue, keep customers around longer, be more efficient? And I'll leave it kind of wide open so you could lay out a few of these for us.
Yeah, I think number one, like you probably know this as well, Doug, like I'm 99% sure we're both convinced of this. If you want to get clients or just make money, then you have to get attention. If you want to get attention, I think that YouTube, out of every single other traffic platform that I've seen, is number one, the highest converting, and number two, the easiest to get traffic from day one. Like, for example, I can publish a new video on a completely new channel, just like you're saying on this new channel, and that will get hundreds of views, if not thousands of views from day one. Whereas if I use any other channel, I might be waiting months. I'm at the back of the queue with like 100,000 other people. And so I think using Descript to record screen recordings of you doing SEO or doing client work, etc., every single day, publishing every single day will be the easiest, fastest way to generate more traffic and generate more clients with AI. Like hands down, that's the easiest way. And then what you can actually do is use AI to repackage that content that you've created on YouTube and cut it up, chop it up, reformat it for every other platform. As an example of that, right? Last year, what my Twitter virtual assistant would do is he had a custom GPT I personally built, but he would use every single day. And he would take the transcript from my YouTube video and chop that up and then post it into like a 5-part tweet and a LinkedIn post and a Facebook group post, etc. And so just from that one single piece of content that I created on YouTube, we could generate content for like every single other platform just by using AI. And this isn't like you're just repurposing content and throwing it out there. These are like Twitter accounts that were getting like millions of views, millions of impressions last year. So it works really well.
Awesome. And it's funny, for my other podcast, I interviewed a guy named Brian Feraldi. He's a writer for Motley Fool and written a book or two. But anyway, we talked about building a content machine. So, even though he has a writing background and has written like thousands of articles, he is using ChatGPT. He's going through like a similar process. And the other thing that he does for his content machine, like he'll test a specific topic. Maybe you'll do in your case, you would do a video, but he tests things on Twitter. And then if it does well, like if it's, say, I don't know, the top 10% of his content, then he'll put that back into the machine where he'll create, a LinkedIn post. He may do an infographic. He'll just repurpose it in every way possible. And then if it works well, he's, pumping it back into the machine, because on social media, not so much on YouTube, but on social media, like not everyone sees everything all the time. You could publish the same thing over and over again, and your reach may be, some small percentage of your overall audience. So it's not like people are going to see the same thing over and over, and it works awesome. So I think that's
super smart, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the custom GPT that I built is called 100x content machine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll link up. Is it readily available or is it a private one?
Yeah, it's on the GPT store. It's publicly available.
Okay, cool. We'll link up to that so people can get to it. And yeah, I hopped in and created a couple of the custom GPTs too. And yeah, I just created them because I was using them. And then I was like, oh, I'll just put them out there now that that's out there. and
Might as well,
available.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is another way that you can leverage AI as well to get clients. Is like what we actually do with our custom GPTs is like, number one, it helps me save time on my team. It trains them on how to do marketing without having a marketing head. But also, when I make these available publicly on the GPT store, I insert like affiliate links, links to my funnels, links to my sales pages, etc., in every single response. And so
Yeah.
every time someone uses one of my GPTs, it sends traffic my way to my sales funnels. And it's like, okay, that's just a machine designed to convert that traffic into money as well.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to have to go take a look because mine are super basic, literally just what I was trying to figure out how to save time for myself. So I just have like the normal link back to the homepage of the site, but I don't have it doing what you're saying, which is great. I haven't heard anyone else doing that. Where did you come up with that idea?
I think it was just like, I wanted to showcase something new that people hadn't seen on YouTube before. And I was like, how can I make sure this GPT makes money in some way? And then I was like, oh, you can insert affiliate links into it. Let's do that.
That's so awesome. Okay, so that performs pretty well. Do you advertise or in other ways market or promote that custom GPT, or is it just through the natural search of people looking for content production and productivity and all that on GPT or on OpenAI?
So like in many different ways I showcase it, right? So it might be in my funnels, my email funnels on the back end. Then I also have a free SEO course on how to do AI SEO. And so it has multiple modules on like how to build custom GPTs, some of the ones that I've built, etc. And then I have this sort of massive document from the last sort of 12 months of work, because I've been doing this every single day, where it has 200 chat GPT prompts inside there, along with all my custom GPTs, all the workflows that I've built, etc., all the SOPs. And so I try and give it away in as many ways as possible, because if you just create it once and market it once, it will just go off into the ether, like you were saying about social media. So like if you can really show people like, listen, this works really well. Here's how to use it. Here's how I'm using it. And then you get people using it and that builds up traction. Additionally, one final thing I wanted to say on that, sorry to interrupt there. One final thing I would say is like, you can actually rank these custom GPTs on Google. And then kind of like Parasite SEO, you can rank number one for a bunch of keywords related to tools that people are searching for. And then they'll use your tool and you'll be number one. GPT is like DR90, ranks well.
Can you, I guess you have some examples of that. Can you talk about one of the examples? And can you tell us how you did the SEO or link building or how you generally promoted it so that you can rank on Google with one of your custom GPTs?
Yeah, sure. I'll try and pull up one that's still ranking right now. But in the meantime, whilst I'm trying to find that, like, so the way that this works is OpenAI, chat.openai.com, and I'll share my screen right now if you want and just show you what I mean. But chat.openai is a DR92 website. You can see my screen right here, right?
Yep.
Yep. And so it's a DR92 website, so it ranks really well naturally. And so you can see, for example, I'm ranking for 151 keywords with this custom GPT that I built. For example, like ChatGPT keywords, ChatGPT for keyword research, etc. And so what you can do is inside Keyword Explorer, without doing like a full SEO tutorial, but what you can do is like you put keyword tool, say, into Ahrefs, filter down to like, I don't know, I would say KD 20 or less, so keyword difficulty 20 or less, and just find a bunch of keywords that you could potentially rank for, right? So for example, like keyword match type tool, that could be a tool that you actually create on openai.com. And then when you build these custom GPTs, you can optimize the title for the keyword you want to rank for, optimize the description for the keyword you want to rank for. And then you see these conversation starters. For example, like, I want help with SEO. What that should do is, let's refresh the page right here. And we'll just open that up again. Like if you click, I want a free SEO strategy session, it will send them to my funnel right here. This is like, if you want a free SEO strategy session, just click here. And then I can also track with the UTM that it came from my custom GPT in the in the URL. So it's just like very easy, quick. Should take you about 10 minutes once you've had a few practices of that, but it works really well and ranks really well.
Very good. And for the people that are just listening, Julian, you actually explained it pretty well. So you didn't miss anything for the audio only listeners. So you explained a few ways where obviously AI helped out a lot. You explained how you integrate your marketing funnel into the GPTs, which is, I think, I haven't seen anyone do that. So kind of groundbreaking. I'm sure other folks are doing it around there now that you've mentioned it. But any mistakes that you made along the way where you thought, oh, this is going to be really awesome. I think I'm going to change the world. And then you realize, oh, this is actually not working like I thought. So what are some of the mistakes?
Oh, man, I can tell you a fine example from last month if you want. And this was just at the time that I absolutely didn't need it, right? So what happened, obviously the whole clapping in situation happened. And if anyone's not familiar with that, basically what happened was March the 5th, Google released a new Google Core update. But what they also did was manually clap a bunch of SEO influencers. So for example, I got hit, a bunch of my sites, including my personal agency site, got manually de-indexed from Google for showing a few things on YouTube that they probably wouldn't be comfortable with. I don't blame them, but it happened. And then you got Jesse Cunningham, Jackie Chow, etc., who also got hit during this update. And so this was, I had a lot of attention on me that weekend. Like every time I opened up YouTube, there was a new YouTube video about me. Every time I opened up Twitter or Facebook, someone else had posted about my website. It was a really surreal but scary time in terms of, like I'm getting a lot of attention on me and this kind of out of control. At the same time, my virtual assistant, taking that transcript from my latest video where I said, I'm going to remove my websites from Google Search Console because that's how they got clapped. And I'm just going to do this as an experiment. When he was transcribing this into a custom GPT for a Twitter post, he put, guys, if you remove Google Search Console from your manually actioned website, you'll get it back and it will start ranking again. And I was like, oh, come on, guys. Like, that was the worst possible moment you could have posted that because everyone's looking and everyone wants to sort of, come after me anyway. And so luckily I found it in time and retweeted it and said like, listen, this is English sarcasm, guys. But that really backfired on me. Like that was really an interesting moment. And one where I realized how, well, you can, if you're not careful, there's black swan events where this can backfire and actually hurt your reputation if you're not careful. Thankfully, I was checking Twitter and I was checking what my virtual assistant was posting that weekend. If not, that could have got way out of control. He could have kept posting that all weekend without me realizing,
Is there anything that you implemented after this happened to prevent it from happening again?
I mean, so one of the things I realized about that was like, number one, I probably have to train my virtual assistant better if he's going to represent me and my company. But then at the same time, I realized that most of the negativity in the SEO space tends to come from Twitter and most of the hate, etc. And so I was like, okay, I need to switch this around. And then the other thing that I noticed was that if you look at all the influencers that got clapped manually by Google during that day, they were all on Twitter. Like that is a common denominator between everyone. If you look at YouTube and there's a bunch of people still doing very naughty stuff on there, they haven't been touched at all. In fact, some of their websites are doing better than ever. And so what I realized that weekend was if Twitter is the source of these manual action penalties, then why don't I just target a totally different market? And so now my assistant actually focuses on agency-related content, not SEO-related content on Twitter, which means that no one's replying to my tweets and tagging in Google Search Liaison or John Mueller. And that has played out way better because agencies are our best clients anyway. I want to work with them, man. And SEO is probably sometimes very difficult customers to work with.
So interesting. Yeah, I don't spend much time on Twitter. And it sounds like, you just pop in occasionally, but mostly it is a VA that's helping you out on Twitter. Is that right?
Yeah, best thing you can do is just not look at Twitter, like especially the tweets and the replies, especially right now after all the updates. Like There's a lot. Don't get me wrong. There's some good people on there, but there's a lot of negativity and hate on there. Way worse than it. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I mean, I don't spend time out there, but I published a video or two where other people shared it. And I'm like, now that you mention it, I'm like, shit. Luckily, nothing that I'm doing relies on Google search traffic or Google specifically, which is a great place to be after going through some ups and downs over the years. So,
yeah, I was speaking to Michael Denich from Wealth of Geeks yesterday as well, and he was saying the same. Like you made a video, right, about the case studies on Google's publisher site.
Yep.
Where all these sites that were case studied and showcases, creating the best content, real businesses, doing content the right way. And like 90% of these sites took a dive in traffic after the latest update. He was one of them. So he had the photographers in like this time last year. And then his traffic is basically down to zero now.
It's somewhat embarrassing, I would say, for Google. And I don't know, obviously, I mean, it's a big company. There's different teams. They have different priorities. Like, no one's dumb. Like, they know what they're doing. But externally, it looks pretty stupid. And I'm sure the teams are like, this looks dumb.
It's wild. It's wild to see what's ranking instead. That's wild.
Thanks a lot to Julian. And this was the first part. As you know, part 2 comes out soon, and it might already be available depending on when you listen to this episode. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. We talk about YouTube and get into some of the details about running a YouTube channel. Additionally, you should check out Julian's YouTube channel. He publishes a lot of live streams and does a lot of live streams, so definitely worth checking out. And by the way, if you have a minute, please make sure you're subscribed wherever you're consuming this content. If you really like it, you can leave a review out there on one of the platforms like Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever, and it'll help the show out. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next episode.